This inaccuracy, repeated by gaming media, is my favorite fun fact about game Expedition 33. Maybe you've seen the information that the team making this game consists of 33 people. However, at a certain point in the game when you see this image, there are only 32 people. Something's off. Could it be a grand manipulation? Actually, no. One of the employees would often come to work with his dog. The staff enjoyed the dog's company so much that they offered him a job, which he happily accepted, waving his tail, joining the company as the happiness manager. Now at least they were sure they will not be barking up the wrong tree. I was the perfect test subject for Expedition 33. On one hand, I'm not a fan of this type of turn-based combat, and I only found out about this game when I wanted to install Oblivion. At first I thought it was just another story, where you run around the map killing monsters like in Genshin Impact or Monster Hunter, but with turn-based combat in the style of Pokemon. But then I came across many comments saying it was the game of the year, that it was pure gold, so I had to try it. Did I make a mistake? No, instead I was transported back to my childhood when I played Assassin's Creed 2 and had to watch helplessly as Ezio Auditore da Firenze's family was hanged. And just like then, this game rekindled my faith in the industry and the thought that talent still has a chance, with a cold calculation. But before we discuss the narrative of Expedition 33, I'd like to congratulate the creators. They achieved an incredible result with such a small team, reaching 1 million copies sold after 3 days and 121,000 active Steam players in peak, which is just incredible. On Metacritic, Expedition 33 has a 9.7 player rating after 6,000 reviews. The only other thing that comes close is The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine DLC with 9.3 rating, which is still far away. Both this game and Oblivion spit in the face of all these companies that use subscriptions as a shield, claiming that Steam data doesn't matter, because most players play their games via subscription and please buy our game. But they forgot to mention that the truth is that player who like the game and who wants to support the creator will not only buy it on Steam, for example, he will buy it on every single platform that he's using. I have the Witcher games on GOG, on Steam, on PlayStation, and if it would be possible, I would also buy it for Switch, but I hate Nintendo, so I don't have a Switch. Expedition is unique because it proves that you can make an amazing game without hundreds of employees. Only 32 people worked on this game, with work also outsourced to about 30 others, taking care of sound optimization and artwork. And the best of all, this was predicted last year by the director of Larian Studios.
The Oracle told me that the Game of the Year 2025 was going to be made by a studio who found the formula to make it up here on stage. It's stupidly simple, but somehow it keeps on getting lost. Studio made their game because they wanted to make a game that they wanted to play themselves. They created it because it hadn't been created before. They didn't make it to increase market share. They didn't make it to serve as a brand. They didn't have to meet arbitrary sales targets or fear being laid off if they didn't meet those targets.
One day I will break into Sven's house and steal this oracle for myself, or you can just borrow it to me. Imagine how easier it would be to make YouTube video. Never mind. The very beginning of the game contains something that would never happen in a high budget game. The camera slowly zooms in and we see the Eiffel Tower in its 60s and no one says anything, no narrator in sight. For someone who enjoyed Veilguard, this could cause a circuit overload. Let's compare this intro to the beginning of Veilguard.
Creating a veil that split our world from the raw magic of the veil.
About.
Yet the more we free this place from danger, the more the land fights back.
Or even Assassin's Creed Shadows.
From that chaos and bloodshed, my opportunity surfaced.
The reason for this decision is simple. You can't allow the player to feel lost at any point. From the first second, we players must know that we have to save the world, and that world is in a great danger. Every moment when the game doesn't clearly communicate something, there is a chance that player will quit the game or delete it. Can you believe it? First game that comes to my mind is Disco Elysium, where the initial internal dialogue can really exhaust the player, expecting all information right away. And Expedition 33 is also lacking in obvious narrative exposition. These two games share a way of conveying facts to the player, but their formulas are quite different. When creating our main character, we must consider how they relate to the presented world. You can do it like Disco Elysium, where the main character has amnesia and we discover the world with him. This way our knowledge level matches the characters, making immersion easier, since everything is new for both of us. CD Projekt Red used a similar solution in The Witcher, so they didn't have to explain why Geralt wasn't looking for Yennefer in the first game.
Wiedmolol?
But if you don't want to use the Amnesia card, you can start the story like Divinity Original Sin 2, with a protagonist washed up on a beach with no prior connection, making every interaction fresh. The Expedition 33 team decided to play with the main character's status in two ways. In the prologue, set in the city, we move around as someone who lived there for years. Here panic and disbelief begins. Characters speak in half sentences, focusing on emotions rather than dry facts. Like really, conversation in Expedition 3 might go like this.
You know, I'm sorry that... I miss you
need
too.
to... Okay.
You go.
You.
You know how I feel? I wish things had been... You know, I often think...
In Veilguard it would go probably more like this. Hello, my ex-partner, are you going to the farewell ceremony at the docks? Yes, I can't believe that with sunset, all the people who are 34 will die. You know I'll avenge you. For years, expeditions tried to defeat the Austrian painter, but I believe you'll succeed. I don't know about you, but I don't like when a game keeps reminding me that it's just an artificial simulation. In the first location of Expedition 33 you feel the opposite, following Gustav and maybe not fully understanding what's happening around you. Feeling lost is completely normal, and you have to accept that you won't get all the answers right away. Though much can be read between the lines, of course not in my case, because when I hit the record button my IQ falls down by several degrees and I had no idea what is going on with the flowers or who Sophie was. I understood it when it was already too late. The narrative shifts when you set out on expedition, which is a nice touch. Suddenly, our character is in a place that is a mystery to him too, so our knowledge matches Gustav's. The first part was used to bring us closer to his motivation, to the city where hope is fading, while the second part serves to bond us with the team, gradually strengthening their goals and bonds, while also introducing some doubts. The mysterious place created by the paintress builds intrigue in a similar way as Horizon Zero Dawn, which I got through, even despite its weak side stories. By modern standards, this way of storytelling is illogical. Any other company would be afraid that the player will get bored and that he will not make it to the prologue's climax. But when the fear of financial expectations disappears, what remains is talent. If the rumors are true, the creators of Expedition 33 found the woman who led the story writing on Reddit while looking for voice actors. She deserves recognition as the lead writer was Jennifer Svedberg-Yen, whose favorite productions include The Expanse and Elden Ring. This only proves that women in the gaming industry can often be more talented than men, of course if they are hired for their talent, not for company progressiveness and diversity. But of course, it's better to hire a consulting firm to fix such issues. Thanks to the writers at Sandfall, we got dialogues that sound like a real conversation between people, not just information exchanges. Such small things bring so much joy. For example, at the beginning of the game, Gustav throws a stone with his right hand. Mael says, try throwing with your left, maybe you'll reach the paintress. And a few hours later, these characters are together again, and this time Gustav throws the stone with his left hand. Expedition 33 doesn't treat you like a child, and doesn't need to immediately highlight the correlation between these two events. And when Lune made a joke to Gustav, he smiled slightly, and I laughed. The character doesn't need to burst out laughing just to show you that, hey look, this was funny, you know? And I don't want to diminish the phenomenal voice acting, though I might be a bit biased because I really like the actor who plays the lead, Charlie Cox. You might know him from the Daredevil series. All these lines and interactions are a pleasure to listen to, though I have one remark. At least for me, in some moments the characters sound like they are recorded in a studio. I mean, the voice isn't placed in a 3D space, doesn't have environment effects like echo and so on. You can hear it especially when characters are at different distances from the camera.
Fuck the mission. Really?
The narrative in Expedition 33 brilliantly combines two main axes of storytelling. The first is mystery and the second is human relationships. Only after properly building up a mystery, it can be resolved in a way that is satisfying for the player. A good story introduces several different threats and gradually explains them, so the viewer doesn't lose interest. Right away, series From comes to my mind, where the creators keep stoking fan curiosity, and every answer brings two more questions. Clair Obscur is no different, and after just a few hours of gameplay, many questions arise that cleverly fuel the player's imagination, so that even if you don't like the combat system, you'll push through the story, determined to find an answer. If the element of the mystery doesn't appeal to you, the game has another trick. It's pretty obvious, so you can call it a cheap move, but hey, it works. In the city, the critical nature of the current situation is visibly outlined. The 33rd expedition is the last group that can really save the city. The rest are either unfit for the future expeditions or will be only able to go when it's already too late. Just remember that in this world, a 10-year-old child will have to set out on expedition at age 21. So the clock is not kind for this story and we feel the finality of expedition 33. On one hand, we worry about the fate of the city, on the other about our sister, and most importantly, about the life of the girl that we take care of. Because while it seems that Gustav has accepted his fate, he still cares about Maëlle and will do anything to ensure her safety. And when we combine these two axes, we get a story built on very strong foundations. So strong that people who never played the Souls games and wouldn't even parry a drunk sloth charge, complaining all the way, still finish the game. A huge strength of Expedition 33's narrative is that it was created not with numbers in mind, not for investors, but based on what the writers and developers considered valuable. I'm a fan of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Henry's Adventures, but I think Warhorse Studios will manage without the Game of the Year's title, while such an award for Expedition 33 could be another step in putting games back on the right track, and maybe inspiring other companies to follow their lead. Of course, assuming that soon there won't be any angry voices saying Expedition 33 is an exception, that they are setting unrealistic standards, and please, buy our game. But the internet wouldn't be the internet without hateful voices complaining about the game. Take them with a grain of salt because I really don't know how much is provocation, how much is a joke, and how much is serious. The first comment complains about the lack of person of color in the story. Well, that's an interesting take, especially since one of the main companions is Asian, which, by the way, the first person in the reply also points out. Of course, there's also complaint that women are beautiful, slim, white, and heterosexual. Can this be fixed in patch? So like always, appearance doesn't matter in games unless the world is full of pretty slim heterosexual people. Then it's the most important thing. It's a tragedy. It's metaphysics. But actually, considering the number of people who are able to produce resources in this city, I'm not surprised that there are no obese people. One commenter claims that they won't buy a game until the developers add a character creator so that they can make their own character. And let me guess, it should have an option to change hair color and choose body type, obviously type 1 and type 2. And finally, I have this wonderful comment written in French. Clair Obscur is very misogynistic. Everything must revolve around the man. Man is everything, woman is lost without him. Although there are many of them, they have a bestial need to be led by a man. Long live the harems in Sandfall. No, this comment can't be real. It's a joke, right? Never mind that the lead writer is a woman. The first hour of Expedition 33 gave me the complete opposite impression. It's the woman in the painter's world who see the beauty and life, while Gustav would rather shoot first and ask questions later. They react with empathy to the world around them, while he is closed off, at least in the first part of the game. Maybe just confirmation bias, where the person is so strongly believing that the gaming industry is misogynistic, that they start seeing it in every story. Anyway, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is in my opinion a great game, and although I will probably play it only one more time when I will buy it on Steam, it will stay with me and in my heart for a long time. There will surely be people complaining about its success, but remember that the most important thing is how you feel while playing the game. The rest really doesn't matter. Thanks a lot for listening to my rambling. If you like the material, you can leave something under this video, like a sub, like or comment, and we'll see each other in the next video. For now, bye bye. By the way, as a fun fact, if you're here and you have nimble fingers or luck, if you jumped from this table just right, there's a hidden reward behind the painting. Enjoy!